vote. The CG stated this when he received the country director, Transparency International Nigeria, Awol Rafsanajani in Abuja. In a statement signed by the core spokesperson, Olushola Odumusu, Audi reiterated that the cruciality of the 2023 general election requires a multi-agency approach. He therefore called on all security and law enforcement agencies in the country to come together and synergize in order to uphold, defend, and sustain Nigeria's democracy. Deputy Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, Toby Okechukwu, has advised that for Nigeria to realize its road infrastructure, the fund bill must be assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari. Okechukwu said this on Wednesday in Abuja when he received a delegation from the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, led by its president Rabiu Ali, who came to present a letter of honorary fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers (NSE) to him. He noted that Roads Fund Bill and Road Authority Bill passed into law by the National Assembly to give a facelift to the sector were rejected. The Deputy Minority Leader, however, appealed to President Buhari and all concerned Nigerians to give attention to the bills.
It controls 90% of our lives. It is our prayer that the Road Fund Bill and Roads Authority Bill should be paid attention to. The other day, I was listening to the minister, and he said they have over 10 trillion liability, and they have 765 billion outstanding certificates. There isn't any way you can develop roads in this country without dealing with issue of road reforms in the system. And those acts were meant to cure that.
Earlier, while presenting the award letter, Engineer Ali said that the fellowship was equal to Okechukwu's contribution to engineering in Nigeria, especially in amending the current act.
But already I want to inform Your Excellency that we have already started the implementation of the act. And we are already seeing signs that the act will change the face of engineering practice.
He said that engineering has received a boost with the new law. When NEWSLIVE returns, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate PTAD says the pension agency will pursue the implementation of 5-yearly pension reviews in 2024. Details of this and more come to you right after the break.
What news matters the most to you? Is it the news that hits close to home, or the news that touches your community, your security, or your future?
No matter what the news is, we got you covered.
We are here to ensure you are informed about what's coming your way.
Expecting that maybe government will do something.
This is the place to find out, because it is your voice and your news.
Viewer Television News, giving you your voice.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is NEWSLIVE. Here's a recap of our top stories. Federal government reviews school feeding at 30 naira per meal. Kano government sensitized students to end drug abuse plus. World's oldest pupil dies in Kenya at 99. Many thanks for staying with us. Well, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, says the pension agency will pursue the implementation of 5 yearly pension reviews in 2024. State House correspondent was at the 58th ministerial media briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team held at the Presidential Villa and now reports.
The 1999 Nigerian Constitution as amended provides for a 5-yearly review of pension, and the last time it was carried out was in the year 2019. Hence, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate says this pension agency will pursue the implementation of 5 yearly pension review in the year 2024.
The Pension Reform Act of 2014 provided for the rights of pensioners as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended, which made pension a right, and that pension and gratuity for public servants should be regulated by law, should not be withheld or altered to the disadvantage of the pensioner. That particular section also stated that pensions should be reviewed every 5 years or at any time there's a salary review in the public service, and also pensions are not meant to be taxed by virtue of the Constitution.
FITAD Executive Secretary Dr. Chioma Ejikeme reveals that the Directorate has recovered legacy pension assets to the sum of 17.85 billion naira from Board of Trustees and underwriters of Treasury-funded federal parastatals.
We've lifted thousands of DBS pensioners out of poverty through the increase of the minimum pension from 500 to 8,638. That 8,000 really meant a lot to them, because when we went to some stakeholder engagements, some of them said to me, yes, we now buy chicken.
Dr. Ejikeme also disclosed that the I Am Alive platform that seeks to verify and update the Directorate's database through a digital process has commenced with a target of 50,000 pensioners across the 6 political zones. From the State House in Abuja, Dorcas Bello, Viewer Television News.
Now, DDI Golf Course Jalingo has been applauded for organizing the first female golf tournament in Jalingo, Taraba State. The Vice-Chancellor of the Taraba State University, Sunday Bako, made the declaration when he kicked off his tee-off to declare the tournament open. The reports.
The tournament, which gathered golf players from different parts of the country in Jalingo, was the first of its kind in the northeast of the country. The Vice Chancellor stated that he was glad that the tournament is taking place at the time of his tenure as the VC of the institution, stating that it was a privilege. Bako disabused the assertion that the game is for the rich people, adding that it takes just commitment and consistency to play the game.
On behalf of the VC, I want to say I have witnessed a kind of love and unity in this kind of game. When I follow VC to come and play this game, I also develop a desire to be part of this golf. It has occurred to me that when you come here, you will meet great personalities. And coming here will change your destiny, will change your life for better. On the importance of this game, and I think I will carry this message back to my VC and tell him that they have to buckle up and be serious so that at the end his name too to be written in gold in this golf club.
In her remarks, the ladies captain of the GDI golf course, Benedicta Daudu, thanked the participants for converging in the state to be part of the tournament. She disclosed that golf is a game that cut across all ages, saying both young and old are welcome to join in the game.
This day is a historic day in the history of Taraba State, and indeed in the history of the Northeast, because this is the first time that we're going to have Ladies Open, Golf Open Tournament in Northeast and Taraba State. So it's an epoch-making event. It's a historic one, and we thank God that it has been successful. So we have members from Yola Club, Bauchi, Jos, Abuja, Lafia, Makodi, Gombe. In fact, the entire Northeast, North Central, they are all represented here. They're playing and they have already started their game. So we have people from all over, even from the southwest. People are coming all the way from the southwest. So we have ladies representing every part of the federation here to say thank you to our rescue governor, His Excellency Architect Darius Dixon Ishaku. He is our major sponsor. He has made this event possible. We also want to say a big thank you to His Excellency Barrister Simon Bakulalong. He supported us in a mighty way, in a really big way. We are proud of the two of them.
The point of the event was the tee-off by the VC Taraba State University, presentation of prizes to different categories of winners and networking among members. Linda Guana, Viewer TV News, Jalingo.
Well, still in Taraba State, Governor Darius Ishaku says he has completed all his campaign promises to the people of Taraba State in 7 years before the expiration of his tenure. The governor said this when the General Superintendent, Deeper Life Bible Church, Pastor William Kumuyi, paid him a courtesy visit at Government House, Jalingo. The reports.
The General Superintendent, Deeper Life Bible Church, Pastor William Kumuyi, is in Taraba State for the Global Workers' Conference scheduled to commence on the 17th November, meant for both secular and church leaders across the world. Governor Ishaku appreciated God and the clergyman for the visit and says he has recorded tremendous achievements in all sectors of the economy and particularly water supply to communities across the state, leading to the adoption of his water blueprint as a model for African countries.
This is the time we are going down the hill. We are proceeding to hand over. Although I told my people I finished the work they asked me to do in 8 years, in 7 years, I've finished in 7 years. And I have testimonies to show that in 7 years I did what should be done in 8 years. And the 1 year is for me to be packing and cleaning my table. And that is done because of God's grace in Taraba State.
Pastor Kumuyi said since his last visit to Taraba State in February this year, testimonies of miracles are still being recorded worldwide by those who participated in the program. The cleric added that God is willing to do more for the state and urged the government and people to rely on him always.
Reaching out with the simple message of the good news of Christ to people who need to reconnect with him or know him better. But that we should impact the lives of leaders and ministers and professionals and Christian workers from all over the churches so that the growth and the spectacular ministration we've seen in our own locality will be distributed everywhere.
Chairman Christian Association of Nigeria, Taraba State Chapter, Reverend Isaiah Jurape, said it is a privilege to host the man of God twice in a year and commended the governor for making the state conducive for such events.
I stand here on behalf of the body of Christ in Taraba State and on behalf of the body of Christ worldwide to appreciate you for providing a platform on which this servant of God will stand these few days to minister to people all over the world and to bless people.
The General Superintendent offered a special prayer for the government and people of the state. Linda Guana, Viewer TV News, Jalingo.
A Fulani social cultural group under the aegis of Full Bay Northeast has on Wednesday endorsed the candidature of the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidates Atiku Abubakar and Adamawa State Governor Amadou Fintiri for a second term. The group says the decision is built on the achievement recorded by Governor Fintiri in bringing an end to the farmer headers clashes in the state. Correspondent Percy Debang completes the report.
Members of the Fulani Sociocultural Group from the 6 states of the Northeast Geopolitical Zone comprising Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Gombe and Taraba states converged on the Mahmoud Ribado Square, Yola, to express their support for the PDP and its presidential and Adamawa State governorship candidates. The director of Fulbe Northeast, Musa Ardo, declared that their decision is as a result of Atiku and Fintiri's good political records. He urged members of the groups to reach out to Fulani communities and settlements to canvass for votes for the DOR and all PDP candidates in the Northeast.
We have equally seen what Fintiri has demonstrated in Adamawa State, the few years of his service to his people. To us headers, it impresses us and makes us sure that nothing like farmer herder crisis in the state. He created an enabling environment both for herding and farming activities to continue peacefully. He ensured that crime and criminality never gain footage in the Adamawa State. It is on this basis that we are urging all the Fulbe Northeast under the banner of Pulaku to give their maximum support to His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as President and Alhaji Amadou Fintiri as Governor of Adamawa State, and all other political aspirants in PDP in the Northeast Zone.
Kola notes were prayed upon and distributed to members of the group as a sign of oath-taking for a rigorous campaign for Atiku and Fintiri ahead of the 2023 general elections.
See a Fulani man, a separate Kola note, like taking oath that he can do this, so there's no going back. Therefore, we endorse Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Waziri Adamawa, and His Excellency Governor Amadou Umar Fintiri. There's no checking, no going back, inshallah.
Endorsing for so many reasons, because of his contributions towards the Fulanis in Nigeria, and the more contribution that he did during his vice president, when he was a vice president in Nigeria. He did so many contributions to our business, that is Fulani rearing activities.
They urge all the Fulbe Northeast under the banner of Pulaku to give their maximum support to Atiku Abubakar as president and Umaru Fintiri as governor of Adamawa State come 2023. Percy Dabang, Viewer TV News, Yola.
While the craft of blacksmithing plays a significant role, especially in the lives of farmers, Blacksmithing is an ancient practice of forging iron and metals into objects and tools for human use. This artwork is still a source of livelihood for many in Maiduguri. Our correspondent Beatrice Kurisi takes us through this report.
Blacksmithing in Nigeria is an age-long occupation. It is found across all tribes and the skill is transferred from generation to generation. Gamburu Market is one of Maiduguri's oldest trade center. It's also a home for blacksmiths' old technology that produces farm implements, bush traps, knives, axe, pots, and many more. All these are crafted from iron, silver, and gold. Baba Gana Usman inherited the metal work from his father, and he has been in the business for 35 years. He says the craft brings customers from here and neighboring countries. It's a trade that has not changed and still fetches proceeds for him.
Muna da kuturin wayan yanzu ma akasari ma cikin kashi uku din daya da rabi ma duk sun zo ne ba su da abin duk mun koya musu sana'a.
My father taught all of us blacksmith work right from childhood. I have 3 apprentices under me. People come from Chad, Niger, and Cameroon to buy what we make. We even forge car parts. I make like 5,000 naira daily. The business has helped me and my family a lot. I provide for them and sponsor my children's education. We get our raw materials from scrap dealers who sell old items like cars, something that's not useful anymore. We make more profit during the rainy season because it's the farming period. The only support we want is to empower the youth we have trained. Meanwhile, the goldsmith business is facing some challenges of working tools, machines, and mostly sourcing raw gold. The goldsmith dealers blame the poor patronage to border closure and insurgency. They only redesign, repair, and clean jewelries for customers. We get the gold from Saudi Arabia and Dubai. Most people here prefer those ones. We don't have the equipment that forge raw gold. We only fix earrings and necklaces that are old, and we also redesign and wash when it's faded. If we could be provided with all these things, the government will be shocked with what we can do, knowing that gold is where the money lies. Back then, when the town was safe, we get karat gold in kilos, but with the insurgency, it scared traders. So we only do some touches on the gold women bring to us. But now that peace has returned, we are hoping with support the business will start fully, and also we call on the government to open the borders to boost the business. Despite the challenges of the old metal work and industrialized methods of forging tools, blacksmithing will always be a craft that will never fade.
Beatrice Kurisi, Viewer Television News, Maiduguri.
Or the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has described the collection of permanent voters' cards in Adamawa State as very poor. The Resident Electoral Commissioner Hudu Yunusa makes this known while briefing newsmen in Yola on Friday. Yunusa, who just assumed office as the new Resident Electoral Commissioner, urged electorate to visit INEC offices across the state and collect their cards. He said that the Commission has received 4,104 bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS for the state, which will be used during the 2023 general elections.
Or 20 local government offices in the state. I wish to say that the collection of women in the state is very poor. It's very, very poor. And hereby I want to see this opportunity to call on all of the registered prior to the 2019 general elections to have registered freshly during the CBR periods. General elections who have registered freshly during the CBR periods, that is 20 and 2020, and those that updated their records were made transfers to visit the 21 local governments for their TVCs and collect their TVCs.
While you are still watching News Live on Viewer Television, when we return, business, international, and entertainment news comes to you right after the break. Do stay tuned.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Well, thank you for staying with us. And on business today, the International Air Transport Association has said that passengers' revenue in Nigeria and other African countries rose by 90.5% between September 2021 and 2022, despite global economic and geographical uncertainties. The global trade body, representing over 290 international airlines across 120 countries, say that strong demand helped the industry cope with high fuel prices. The Director General, IATA, Willie Walsh, said with economic and geopolitical uncertainties, the demand for air transport continues to recover ground. He further said that after nearly 3 years of pandemic travel complexity, travelers now wanted simplification and convenience, noting that it was an important message for airlines but also for airports and governments. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Statistics has disclosed that 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. In its latest National Multidimensional Poverty Index report launched, the NBS said that 63% of Nigerians were poor due to lack of access to health, education, living standards, employment, and security. The Multidimensional Poverty Index offers a multivariate form of poverty assessment, identifying deprivations across health, education, living standards, work, and shocks. The Statistician General of the Federation and CEO of the NBS, Samuel Adeniran, said this was the first time the Bureau would conduct the standard multidimensional poverty survey in Nigeria. The NBS report further showed Sokoto, Bayelsa, Gombe, Jigawa, and Plateau as the top poorest states in 2022. Well, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said Nigeria's exchange rate regime remains a subject of concern which needs to be redressed. Osinbajo expressed this view in his address at the opening of the 28th Nigerian Economic Summit, NES, where he represented President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The two-day summit with the theme 2023 and Beyond Priorities for Shared Prosperity was organized by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Finance.
By finding a mechanism for increasing supply and moderating demand, a mechanism which will be transparent and which will boost confidence. And I'm sure that we can, recall that the central bank has in some years back, been able to do so.
The Vice President said that real improvements had been seen in the non-oil revenues and focus must be on productivity or encouraging value addition. Now, the endless depreciation of the Naira and the rising inflation have eroded Nigeria's workers' 24.88 trillion Naira salary received in the first 6 months of 2022. The salaries of workers in the Nigerian formal sector increased from 21.80 trillion Naira in the first 6 months of 2021 to 24.88 trillion Naira in the corresponding period of 2022. This represents a 3.08 trillion Naira increase within the period. But when adjusted for inflation, the National Bureau of Statistics' recent data on employees' compensation reveals that there was only a 550.97 billion Naira increase. This means that not only was the 3.08 trillion Naira increase in salary eroded, the total salary of nearly 25 trillion Naira also depreciated. A further dive into the data revealed that compensation of employees at 2010 purchases value was 10.71 trillion Naira in the first 6 months of 2021, which marginally increased to 11.26 trillion Naira in the corresponding period of 2022. And on news around the world, Zimbabwean courts release on bail 14 opposition activists arrested after clashes with ruling party members at a funeral for an opposition supporter whose mutilated body was found in a well. The members of the main opposition Citizens Coalition for Change, CCC, were arrested along the leading lawmakers Job Stikhala and Godfrey Sidho on June 14th. The release came just days after a mission from the Commonwealth arrived to assess if conditions were conducive to warrant Zimbabwe's readmission into the grouping of mainly former British colonies. Now, onto humanitarian crisis. The humanitarian crisis grows ever worse for those displaced by fighting between M23 rebels and the army in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Several thousand people have found themselves in Kenya-Russian IDP camp near Goma, which is only 12 miles from the advancing rebels. Clashes picked up again in North Kivu province on Friday, ending about a week of relative calm since the group launched their latest offensive on October 20th. A Tongo resident who did not wish to be named said by telephone that the army had left and that people were fleeing en masse. A witness in Kimbuma painted a similar picture.
Rudia hapa ni swata tunataka ikara njoni niko hapa na kicho kulele yako sina.
While the world's oldest primary school student, Priscilla Sitani, who's resolved to acquire an education in her 90s, inspired a French film and won praise from UNESCO, has died in Kenya, aged 99. Her grandson, Sammy Chepser, told newsmen that Goko Priscilla died at home after developing chest complication. She was 94 when she persuaded the headmaster of the local school in her village in Kenya's Rift Valley to admit her. According to UNESCO, which hailed her as a role model for her community and beyond, in an interview with the UN agency last year, she said her aim was to motivate young mothers in Kenya to return to school after having children instead of dropping out due to shame or fear from social stigma. And that's all on NEWSLIVE, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Federal government reviews school feeding at 30 naira per meal. Kano government sensitized students to end drug abuse plus. World's oldest pupil dies in Kenya at age 99. Well, many thanks for watching. I am Jennifer Okolo. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.